So now in this chapter we are going to talk about parametric objects. The reason we call them parametric object because whenever we are going to create them, Cinema 4D will give you some parameters related to that object. Now we will try to create cube, but if you see properly in Cinema 4D we will get 18 parametric objects, out of which I am going to start with this cube. So I'll simply create one cube over here, and whenever I create any object it will appear in my perspective view, as well as you will get some readings in your attribute manager as well as in your object manager. Now suppose if I deselect all of them, as you guys can see we are not getting any readings over here. So you will get readings in your attribute manager only when you are going to select your object. So I'll select this object, so as you guys can see we will get some readings over here. Now we will start with the basic over here. So let's talk about basic controls. In basic controls, first control you will get this is name. You can change the name of this object, like you can choose whatever name you want. I'll name it my name only, Aditya. Okay, then now we will focus on our visibility setting. Now in visibility settings, as you guys can see we have two options: visible in editor, which means this is our entire thing is editor, and visible in renderer. Now renderer means if you press Ctrl R on your keyboard, it will show you the render output in Cinema 4D. Right now both of them are in default, that's why we can see them like this. Now if I click on this one, as you guys can see we will get these three options: default, on and off. Now there is one beautiful thing about this software, that these two options are similar to these two dots over here. As you guys can see the color of this dot is gray, which means they are in default. The first dot is related to this visible editor, and second dot over here is related to this visible in renderer. Now instead of default, if I choose on over here, as you guys can see the first dot has changed this color to green, and now visible in editor, which means we can still see this object in our editor. And now if I choose off, as you guys can see in editor we cannot see that, and change the color of this one into red like this. But visible in renderer is still on default, and you can choose on also. So as you guys can see the second light over here is in green, which means visible in editor is off, that's why we cannot see that, and visible in renderer is on, that's why we can see this thing in renderer. If I hit Ctrl R, as you guys can see I can still see that object. So these are the functioning of this visible in editor and visible in renderer. Right now let's choose default settings. Now we can adjust these two settings over here also with the help of these dots. As I said, the first dot is represents the editor, and second dot represents the renderer. Right now these dots are in gray color, but if you click on this dot, as you guys can see it's in green color, which means visible in editor is on. If I again click, it means red, and it's off now. Same thing you can follow for this one also. So now both of them are off, so we cannot see them either in editor and either in renderer. If I press Ctrl R, I cannot see that. So these are basically known as traffic lights. So we, with the help of that, we can adjust the visibility, and by holding Alt you can simply click on both of them, so you can adjust the settings of both of them. So these are the settings of visibility. Now you will get this option called use color like this. Right now it's off, so let's choose on, so you can change the color of your object according to you. But I would suggest you should not do that. Keep your color as it is. Then we have this enable option like this. Is the use of this? You can disable the visibility of this one, same as it is this. If you uncheck this, you cannot see this object over here. If you hit Ctrl R, you can still see not that. So that's why this option is useful, and it is same as it is over here. You will get this right icon. If you click on it, as you guys can see we cannot see that. Then you will get this option called X-ray. If you click on it, as you guys can see this is transparent object now, and you can see through this object. For example, if I create another object like cylinder, I'll go to the top view and I'll move this over here. So as you guys can see, you can see that cylinder through this cube. And if I disable this X-ray, as you guys can see it's still a solid subject. So let's delete this cube, I mean this whatever that object is. Now this is our basic properties. Now we will talk about our coordinate. So let's go into the coordinates. So over here you will get this option like positions, scaling and rotations. Now as you guys can see, in positions you will get this kind of readings. With the help of these arrows you can increase their positions like this and like this. You can choose minus value and plus value, and you can adjust the value with the help of your number keys also. Now there are some shortcut keys that you need to understand. Before that I would like to tell you, if you type plus value over here, it will always go towards the direction of this arrows. Like right now x axis means this is in red color, and if I choose 100 over here, which means positive 100, it will go toward the size of this red arrow. If I choose minus 100, it will go in the opposite direction of that respective arrow. Okay, so let's make this 0 right now. And if I hold shift and if I click on this icon, it will go forward with the help of 10 frames, not 10 frames sorry, but 10 units like this. And if you hold alt, it will go in the form of decimal, one reading forward like this. Okay, so let's make this 0 again. As I said, if you go, suppose you go to the Y position and you hold shift, and if you click, as you guys can see, with the help of shift left click, you can go 10 frame, I mean 10 units forward, and by holding alt you can go in the form of decimals like this. Now suppose I have added few values over here like this, let's say scale is 12 and rotation is 80 per degree to 80 to 90 degree maybe. And let's zoom out, and now I want to make it again it should come at the its initial position, which means all values need to be default. So for that, what you can do, you can simply right click on this things, so it will automatically come towards this initial value with the help of right click. Okay, so with the help of right click it will get its default value. And there is another thing you can do, like suppose you have this reading, so simply select all of them, right click, and you can go to the reset to default like this. So this is how you can adjust their position and scaling and rotations. Now suppose the value of this one is 50, this one is 50, and this one is 12,000. Now there is option called freeze transform, but now as you guys can see, the position of this object is over here, not at the center of our canvas, and I want this should be here, but the values of this thing should be 0. So there is one thing known as freeze transform. If I click on freeze all, as you guys can see, the position has not changed, but the values over here are 0. So there it's gonna be the initial position of this object. So with the help of freeze transform you can do this thing also. I'll hit Ctrl Z to make this initial values like this. Then after that you will get this object. Now these properties are varies from different to different object, because we have chosen this cube, so it will show you some things related to this cube like size. And whenever you are going to select this cube, as you guys can see, we will get this dots over here. If I move this dots over here, as you guys can see, the size of this one is increasing like this, and like this. And these are the segments, fillet. So as you guys can see, we will get different options. We will see in depth in our further videos, but this panel is separate for each and every object, because we have chosen this cube, that's why they are showing the size and segment options. Suppose if I choose pair, as you guys can see, in object menu it will show me radius, segments, and what type of ellipse do you want, etc, etc. If I choose cone, I'll get different options. Even they have added cap, slice, etc. So basically according to your object they will show different properties.